without any momentum at all. I'm talking like... We're talking today about getting rid of the dead zone in your pull-ups. What is dead zone? Dead zone is a place where you're going through a range of motion. All of a sudden your muscles just, either they stop working or they do not have the strength or the mind-muscle connection to continue through a certain range of motion. Now, the pull-up typically has two dead zones. One is getting down low and one is getting up higher. Let's talk about the one getting low first. First of all, a lot of times when people do not go all the way down, you know, we're talking about full length on the pull-up. The reason is because they don't have quite the muscle control or the strength, or both, to come down and still maintain the tension in their back, their shoulders, their biceps, or all three. So one of the best ways to handle this is to practice having strength in that position. Find a bar that you can hang from and hang at the bottom of the pull-up position with as much tension flowing through your biceps, the back of your shoulders, your forearms, and your entire back. Remember, ideally, the pull-up is not about just the lats or just the back of the shoulders. The entire back, top, bottom, outside, inside, middle, every single inch of your back should be on for the entire pull-up. So if that's not your case, you got those dead zones. Once you can get this turned on, and this is a great way to warm up for your pull-ups too, then start practicing starting your reps from that position and finishing your rep each time in that position with all that tension. Pay attention to what muscles are turning off, what ones are turning on, and there you know how to manipulate your muscles so that you can get more tension. Now the top dead zone is a little bit more tricky. What you usually find with people is they'll pull up, and a lot of times pull-ups are bicep dominated, so they get this kind of thing. See, we got all this space between the elbow and the rib cage, okay? Sometimes you'll have this kind of deal. Still, space. Ideally with a really good pull-up, and if you have any hope of ever getting a muscle up, you want that gone. Zip, zero, because half of the pull-up, or at least the top part, is about pulling the elbows back as much as you can. If you're doing things like close grip pull-ups, you want to feel like you're pulling the elbows tight into your rib cage, as tight as possible. Now, this can be a much harder thing to do, especially with a full-on pull-up, so I recommend use the regressions from Convict Conditioning, so things like the seated pull-ups or the L-style pull-ups, to get a little bit of resistance off, so you can feel those muscles pulling back. Okay, if you have to, use the recline rows as well. Okay, that is a pull-up. There is no difference from what your elbow does from this point to here, ideally, with a pull-up. Like I've told before, a row and a pull-up are essentially the exact same move. They should feel exactly the same. Pull-ups are a little more difficult. They have a bigger range of motion. That's it. Those, as far as muscular activation, there shouldn't be any difference whatsoever. Ideally, I mean, we're talking about really high level muscle activation. So you're trying to get this. So practice on the rows, you know, coming back, pulling the elbows back, using the back of the shoulder, the lats, all of the muscles in the upper back to pull the shoulders down and back with the rows and the pull-ups, and you're gonna have a much better time. If you can get rid of those two dead zones, your pull-ups are gonna be 100 times better and more effective. Okay, questions below. Be fit, live free.